1,000 spectators horrified.
People running, screaming.
What just happened?
For heaven's sakes, people, do stay away.
May 10th, 1973 is to Kenora as 9/11 is to New York.
On a seemingly ordinary May afternoon in 1973, the peaceful town of Kenora, Ontario, found itself at the center of a mystery that would baffle investigators for decades. As bank employees prepared to close for the day, a masked man walked through the doors of the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, setting off a chain of events that ended in a violent explosion. Who was this strange figure, and what secrets did he carry to his grave? The answers remain hidden, waiting to be unraveled. In the early 1970s, Kenora was a tranquil town on the shores of Lake of the Woods, known for its scenic beauty and close-knit community. The CIBC branch, centrally located, was a pillar of the local economy and a symbol of security and trust. This made the events of May 10, 1973, when a violent bank robbery shattered the town's peace, all the more shocking. On a seemingly ordinary Thursday afternoon, about 10 minutes before closing time, the tranquility of Kenora was shattered. The CIBC branch was about to close its doors when a stocky, masked man strode in, armed with a rifle, a pistol, and a bomb made from 6 sticks of dynamite strapped to his chest. This man, later known as the Kenora Bomber, moved with a calculated precision, betraying an unsettling calmness. He went straight to the manager's office, brandishing a .32 automatic pistol and demanding his shoulder bag and 3 duffel bags be filled with money. As panic set in among the bank staff and the few customers present, the robber's methodical approach left no room for error. He ordered the entire staff to leave, keeping only the manager inside. A customer who entered the bank and saw the unfolding drama made a motion towards the robber, but was quickly deterred by a warning shot fired near his legs. Outside, the scene was quickly becoming a spectacle. The commotion caught the attention of staff at the local radio station, CJRL, directly across the street. Within minutes, broadcasters were giving a live play-by-play of the events, their urgent pleas for people to stay away only drawing more onlookers. Parents even picked up their children from school to witness the unfolding drama, unaware of the true danger inside the bank. As the crowd swelled, the police were keenly aware of the volatile situation. The bomber's deadman switch, clenched in his teeth, was a crude detonator that could trigger the bomb if he was incapacitated. This knowledge cast a grim shadow over the scene, heightening the tension as everyone waited to see how the standoff would end. The events of that day in Kenora would not only scar the town, but also embed a mystery that has lingered for decades, as the identity of the bomber remains unknown. Described as a stocky, middle-aged man with a distinctive air of confidence, the Kenora Bomber was a figure of intrigue from the outset. Witnesses later recounted his calm demeanor and precise actions, suggesting a man well-versed in the art of robbery. Despite his composed exterior, his identity remained shrouded in mystery. Eyewitnesses provided conflicting descriptions, and without modern surveillance technology, the police had little to go on beyond fragmented accounts and the man's own cryptic statements during the heist. Crowd control became a critical issue as the Kenora bank heist unfolded over an hour. Officers from multiple police departments surrounded the block, but their pleas for onlookers to stay back were ignored. Inside, bank manager Al Reed relayed the robber's demands to the chief of police, Webb Engstrom, over the phone. The robber ordered a half-ton truck for his getaway, with Constable Don Milliard posing as the driver in civilian clothes. As Milliard and the robber exited the bank, the tension peaked. The robber, wearing a black balaclava mask and holding a deadman's detonator in his teeth, strode confidently towards Main Street. His belt of 6 dynamite sticks threatened instant destruction. Unbeknownst to him, Constable Don Milliard, dressed as a civilian, was his getaway driver. After a brief return inside to retrieve a forgotten rifle, they emerged once more, ready to make their escape. The scene outside was chaotic. The robbers' demands had drawn a large crowd despite police efforts to keep the area clear. Hundreds of onlookers, including parents with their children, had gathered, their curiosity overpowering their sense of danger. The live radio broadcast from CJRL only fueled the spectacle. As Milliard and the robber approached the getaway truck, a gunshot rang out. In that fraction of a second, the entire street was rocked by a violent explosion. The robber's jaw slackened, releasing the detonator and setting off the dynamite. The blast shattered windows for a half a block, sending a shower of glass and debris flying in all directions. Banknotes fluttered through the air, creating a surreal and chaotic scene. The crowd stood in stunned silence for a moment before scattering in panic, their screams echoing through the street. Amid the chaos, Constable Don Milliard limped along the sidewalk, injured and dazed. Blood streamed down his face, and he clutched his stomach as he struggled to his knees. The blast had blown off one of his trouser legs, and he suffered a concussion along with multiple cuts. Despite being only 5 steps ahead of the bomber, the duffel bag filled with stolen money had absorbed part of the explosion, saving his life. Chief of Police Webb Engstrom later revealed that the officer who fired the shot acted on his own initiative, potentially averting a much greater tragedy. As soon as the shocking development occurred, the media began airing news and pictures that captivated the country. They captured images of witnesses stumbling out of the wreckage, some injured but all traumatized. Emergency services rushed to the scene, tending to the wounded and securing the area. The public, captivated by the commotion, gathered outside the bank, their curiosity mingling with shock and disbelief. In the aftermath of the devastating explosion, investigators faced a daunting task. The blast had obliterated much of the physical evidence, including the bomber's body. Yet, the meticulous search through the rubble began, with each discovery, no matter how small, documented and analyzed. Among the key finds was the bomber's wallet, which contained a pair of handcuff keys, $176, and a receipt from the Kenora Hotel. This indicated that the bomber, who had checked in under the name Paul Higgins, had been in town for several days. The bomber's distinctive appearance, described by eyewitnesses and later chronicled by 19-year-old Joe Ralco in his book about the incident, added to the intrigue. He was seen as a middle-aged man in his 40s with brown hair and a reddish beard. Despite wearing a mask during the heist, these features provided crucial leads. Investigators pieced together a complex web of clues, from bomb fragments to witness testimonies. Forensic analysis of the bomb components revealed details about the materials used, shedding light on the bomber's methods. Eyewitness accounts, although varied, helped construct a profile of the suspect. Despite these efforts, the identity of the Kenora Bomber remained elusive. Numerous theories emerged, suggesting the involvement of professional criminals or a disgruntled local with a vendetta. However, the lack of concrete evidence and the enigmatic nature of the bomber kept the case shrouded in mystery. Decades later, the most promising lead pointed to a 45-year-old man reported missing from British Columbia, whose abandoned truck was found in Winnipeg. Described as a bearded German immigrant with a limp, this suspect's profile seemed to match. However, DNA testing of hair samples from his brother revealed no match, and the suspect was later found alive in France, dismissing this theory. Now, more than 50 years later, the Kenora Bomber's identity remains a mystery. Despite exhaustive investigations and numerous leads, the true identity of the man who shook the small town with his audacious crime has never been uncovered. The town of Canora is left with an enduring mystery, a story woven with fragments of clues and unanswered questions. As the decades pass, the bomber's identity fades further into obscurity, leaving behind a puzzle that continues to intrigue and baffle, casting a long shadow over the town's history.